Now in its fourth year, the iPad has continually ruled the roost of the tablet market, and with last year's iPad Air, Apple pretty much totally nailed both the form factor and usability. So improving on near perfection is a difficult thing for any company to do, but that's exactly what Apple has done with the iPad Air 2, making it, in our opinion, by far the best tablet on the market. The first thing you notice about the iPad Air 2 is that it's pretty much identical to the iPad Air 1, just that this time it's much thinner, 18% thinner to be exact. And that reduction hasn't come at the expense of its power or battery performance. Plus the new A8X chip gives much more grunt in terms of performance than the A7 it replaces, and battery life still holds up at 10 hours. And it's hard not to be impressed by how skinny the iPad Air 2 is. It even comes in 32 grams lighter than its predecessor, but at the same time still feeling very sturdy in the hand. And when it comes to the screen, it's the same 264 pixels per inch, 2048 by 1536 resolution as the last generation, but thanks to a new design of the screen where they have removed a layer of air to make the unit even thinner, it looks even better than ever. The screen definitely looks set to continue a long-standing tradition of fantastic screens on said devices. And the cameras on the iPad have been growing and growing in popularity, with more and more iPad users using said camera as one of their main snappers. This was evident when Apple spent some serious stage time talking about the iPad Air 2's rear camera. And the Air 2's flashless camera has an 8 megapixel sensor and shoots 1080p video and 120 frames per second 720p slow-mo video, and supports iOS 8's burst mode, panorama and time-lapse video. And from what we've tested, it's a solid camera that performs well under most conditions. And in terms of processing power, it's a 64-bit A8X chip that does all of the hard work. And after immediately powering up the device, you notice the grunt straight away. Navigating through web pages, playing videos and games were all completely smooth and judder-free, and all loaded noticeably faster than the original iPad Air. It's so quick in fact that there are no apps that really test the limits of the new chip, which is meant to be 40% faster than the A7 on the iPad Air, with 2.5 times the graphics performance. We're sure over time that more games will hit the App Store that make use of this grunt, but for the time being the games you do play just run a lot quicker than on previous models. And even with the extra grunt, battery life is pretty much exactly the same. You can squeeze 10 hours of general use, but if you use labour-intensive apps, that figure will drastically reduce. One new feature on the iPad Air 2 is the Touch ID fingerprint recognition that iPhone users have come to grips with over the past year, and soon, if sites accept Apple Pay, you'll be able to part with your cash via credit cards stored in your Passbook app, with a touch of your fingerprint. It's a great feature and makes a welcome addition on the new iPad. Overall, the iPad 2 is the best iPad yet, and probably the best tablet in general. With its slimmer design and more powerful innards, it's one of the best tablets you can spend your cash on right now. However, Google are hot on Apple's heels, with the HTC-built Nexus 9. With its higher resolution display and Nvidia K1 processor, Apple having the best tablet on the market could quickly change.